Hello, beautiful people. I hope all is well. I hope all is well. If you are new to my page, my name is Alison Wellington, certified dating and relationship coach. And I primarily work with busy professional women to teach them how to attract and keep the husbands that they deserve. So, normally on Mondays is when I do my interviews with my beautiful wives to give you guys some insight on how they got into their relationships, how they were able to be aligned with their guy and to tell us the tea. But we have a very special guest in the building, and she was unavailable in the middle of a Monday afternoon. She actually, I believe, was on her baby moon. We might get into that in a second. So instead, we have Wendella in the building here for Winning Wife Wednesday. We rebranded just for you, girlfriend. It became a Wednesday just for
Oh, I
you.
love that.
So I do want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, where you're from, what you do, and then we're going to get right into Winning Wife Wednesday.
Yeah, so my name is Wendy, also known as Wendella. I'm a lifestyle content creator. I am the co-founder of Her Girls, and I'm also the owner of Wendella Creates, which is my digital marketing agency.
Beautiful, lovely. And like I said, I saw your photos. I know that you were vacationing, and we're going to get into that. But I really do want to give the ladies who are watching some insight, hearing from women who are happily married. There's so much content around the divorce rate and who initiates divorce and cheating and all this negativity, all this red pill stuff, all this stuff. And I think it's important that we find a corner of the internet where they are thriving, happy, especially women of color who are married, who are doing well, and who want to share their story. So I absolutely want to make sure that we make space for that. So my first question for you is, what did your dating life look like before you met your husband?
Man, I feel like my dating life before my husband, it was very experimental. I feel like I kind of wasn't taking things as serious, but I knew exactly what I wanted. But going from high school to college, I just knew I'm like, I don't think anybody I'm gonna meet here is gonna be my forever man. So
Mm.
it was shortly after I graduated college is when I met my now husband. But yeah, I feel like dating was cool. I was able to like, see different men, see what I like and what I don't like, see what
Mhm.
I'm going for, what I'm not going for. And I really kind of stayed true to my standards, my boundaries, and all those things. So, yeah, and that's how I really feel like I ended up here. I didn't budge. I feel like a lot of women, we like to settle when we get bored and things like that. But I really wasn't budging on who I wanted to be my man.
I got it. I got it. So, did he ever give you any tea on what his dating life was before meeting you?
I mean, yeah. So we both had a conversation of like, we ended up okay, so we met each other outside of college and we realized we went to the same college but at two different times. So
Mhm.
we had to have that discussion like, who did you talk to that I know that you know kind of thing. But his dating life was pretty similar to mine. Just testing things out. We both had like a long-term relationship before we got into this one, but it was like maybe 2 years that went by before we both ended up meeting each other and then taking things serious. So it was enough time for a break and find ourselves and know who what we wanted. So it was literally like perfect alignment.
I love that. I love that. So you did mention that the two of you went to the same college at different times. So what was the formal first time that the two of you met, and what did that look like?
Yes. So funny story. I'm from Houston. He's from Dallas. He was in Houston at the time getting his doctorate's degree from TWU, and I had just moved back to Houston to just move back home. I was trying to get a job in Dallas. It wasn't working out, so I went back to my parents' house and I transferred from the Nordstrom I was working at in the Galleria Dallas to the one
Mhm.
in the Galleria in Houston. So it's very funny how timing works. And like I said, he ended up leaving UNT when I got there. He graduated December 2013, and I came January 2014.
Mhm.
Very crazy. So I never met him before. We may have saw each other before because he's an alpha, so he probably came back to the school for probates and things like that. But it was funny. We met. I was at work, and just a few weeks ago, he had followed me on Instagram randomly. I was on a trip in Cancun for the first time with my homegirls, and he commented on my story. Was like, "You're glowing, girl," and I said, "Thank you." And I was like, "Wow, like." Okay, that's all he said. He didn't say anything else. He didn't keep the conversation going. Like, I like that. I like that. Like, don't do too much.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then 2 weeks later, I see this man in my job. At first, I didn't notice him because I'd never seen him in person. He comes there with some of his friends, and I'm on the floor in women's shoes, and I just feel laser beams staring at the side of my face. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I was, they were looking at me so like hard. I was like, I have to know somebody. So I was like, hello. And I normally don't do that to strangers. But he literally came over, introduced himself, and invited me out that night. I tried to keep it cute, y'all. I'm telling you, I was keeping it real player. I was like, I'll let you know if I go. I was definitely going out.
Mm, mm,
Ran
mm.
into each other in the club, and it was really a wrap ever since then.
Oh, and you literally been together ever since then.
Yes, so we met January 18th, which was like literally like last week in 2018, and now we're
Mhm.
here 8 years later,
That's beautiful.
married and a
So,
baby on the way.
married and a baby on the way. So, what helped you recognize that he was the one for you? Like, obviously, you thought he was handsome, right? But was there a moment? And if so, what did that moment look like to say he's the one for me for life?
Yeah, I mean, it was really that initial interaction. I wouldn't say I was like, oh my god, this is my dream man when I first saw him, because I like to take things slow and like really get to know you. Even if you find, I need to know who you are underneath all of that.
Yep, yep.
So definitely we took it slow, and once we met that first day, kept in communication. We texted, we talked on the phone, and it was for hours. And you
Mm,
don't really get that a lot with guys these days, or with just anybody. So we talked a lot, and we got to know each other, and we really aligned with the same values and backgrounds when it comes to like life, marriage, friends, and things like that. Like one thing he said was like, even though we weren't really talking about it at the time, he was just like, always would say like, I never want to get a divorce. Like whoever I marry, like this is it, and we're always gonna make it work.
yep.
That's how I feel. We both have both of our parents in our life, so we've never seen anything outside of that. So that was
Mm,
always the goal. And I'm like, wow, you don't really meet a lot of men that do this. And he's also very heavy in his religion. He's always praying for us. He was
mm,
inviting me to church. And I feel like that's very important. Like when I was dating, none of these guys was talking about church.
mhm,
They weren't
mhm.
praying for me. We weren't praying together or things like that, even though I know things aren't that serious. But just to know that you have a relationship with God was a good thing to know. And that's what I kind of really feel like separated a lot of the past men versus the one I had now. And it's intentionality. The actions have always been there since day one.
Mhm, mhm.
Like the energy has always been there, and any of my friends know, like literally know, like where did this man fall out of heaven from?
Yeah, yeah. So I was going to ask you next about friends. Do you have any single friends?
I have a lot of single
Okay.
friends.
And so I don't want to be presumptuous. So with that being said, what's some of the advice, if you're giving advice, what's some of the advice that you've given them? What's some advice that you would give to anyone who starts, a conversation with you about marriage?
So when I proposed to my bridesmaids, of course, these are like my closest friends. I definitely gave them a speech because I never thought I was gonna get here to be married or get engaged. Even though we were dating, I was like, he's never gonna propose. Like, this is just a fun relationship, whatever. But it finally happened. And just looking back on our relationship, I was like, wow, like I really went for what I deserved
Mm,
versus somebody that was entertaining me, or we just going with the flow of life. And I feel like that was one thing I told them, like, I told all of them, I'm like, please, like I know all of their relationships, we talk about everything. So I'm like, please, y'all, don't go for anything less than what you deserve.
mm,
I know you want to like this man because he fine or he fly you out or buy you bags, but does he actually treat you how you deserve to be treated? So
yeah.
that was like my main source of advice. I feel like that's the best well-rounded thing I could tell my friends.
Yep, absolutely. Because the coaching program that I host, where I work with clients to teach them how to navigate dating successfully, is literally called The Partner You Deserve. Like,
Mhm.
we need to be more mindful of dating the people who are deserving of us. Now, I also say this as a little caveat: sometimes what we're deserving of may not be in alignment with how we're showing up. And
Right.
so there's always room for improvement. A lot of people talk about Sierra's prayer, but they
Yeah.
also don't really take into account, I'm sure, the work that she's done internally so
Yep.
that she would be in a position to meet such a great guy and take him seriously and mature and recognize that sometimes those butterflies that you feel when you
Yeah.
meet a guy who's exciting, that's chaos and that's a
Yeah.
mess.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not structure, and that's not true leadership, and that's not being reliable and someone that you can hold accountable, that's going to show up for you. And
Yeah.
so while I hear you, and that's literally what I teach, the partner you deserve, there's also some room for make sure that you're doing the work so that you really do deserve what you say that you deserve.
Yeah. And as much as we like to think men aren't that smart sometimes when it comes to that, they really treat you how you treat yourself, you
Mm,
know? Like if they know that they can get over on you, they're going to keep getting over on you, and then you're going to think that that's normal, and it's not. And I
mm,
always say, like, God is going to give you what you need, not what you want. I know we want the man that's going to fly us out and do all the fancy things, but you need to go for the man that you need. And I
mm,
feel like a lot of times, I don't know. I feel like it's easy to like brush over the guys that are showing you the actual care that you deserve.
yeah.
And it almost happened with me and Emmanuel, because I was like, dang, this is too good to be true. I wasn't like taking it serious when I first met him, but he was really showing up to where one of my friends, she's about 5 years older than me, she's like, girl, it's not gonna get any better than this. And I was like,
Mm,
you might be right, because I've only known him for a month or two, and he's done way more for me than any guy I can add together that I ever talked to in my whole life.
mm.
So yeah, that's how I
I love
knew.
that. I love that. And I do think that there's sometimes this sense of let me hold out and
Hmm.
see what, if quote unquote it gets better, right? And I
Yeah.
think it's because of just the nature of society, where it's, if I keep scrolling, maybe I'll get a better deal. If I keep this, right? If I'm on a dating app, maybe there'll be someone who is more blank. And not recognizing that sometimes you're going to pay for that. You're going to pay for it in time, effort, energy. If one
Hmm.
desires children, and I'm not here to remind anybody, we already know about both parties' biological clocks, right?
Right. That age now.
Right, right. So time is of the essence. And that's not in an effort to tell anyone to settle. It's to be reasonable, right?
Yeah.
Be reasonable, be realistic. And I think there's also a lot more logic. A lot of what you described here is a lot more logic than people like to give credit for. Like, yes, you love your husband, of course. Is he a good fit for your life? Do the two
Hmm.
of you have a similar vision? Do you have a desire to do similar things? Are you planning to have children? What does that look like? Where do you want to live? What is the religious element, right? Your morals, your values. All of those things had nothing to do with love.
Right.
And I think that
Exactly.
that's a fact that a lot of us don't take into account. So thank you so much for pointing that out. My
Hmm.
last question before I let you go: tell us about the baby plans. So did we plan the baby? Was the baby like, right? Tell us about the timeline of how the baby works in, because a lot of people don't talk about
Yeah.
that part of our story.
Yeah. So man, I truly never envisioned myself to be pregnant. Even right now, I still feel like I'm a teenager, and I never made up my mind to say I want to do this.
Mhm.
But I really feel like God has his own plans, and it really worked out perfectly. I feel like the month that I'm having my baby, the timing of it, like we literally said, okay, after the wedding, we'll start, or maybe a few months later, maybe a year. But I feel like God, He blessed me with a baby girl that is soon to be here in March. So very soon. And I really feel like, yeah, we had our wedding in November. We got married November 1st, but I still had like what 5 months until I can transition into full mommy mode.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I still had a little time to like, debrief from wedding. But I mean, hey, we're here now. I'm 30, and that's the perfect age they say, to have a kid and things like that. So I'm like, I never wanted to be too old. I didn't want to be too young. So I'm
Mhm.
like, I just got to take it for what it is. This is my first time, like literally ever being pregnant, like literally seeing the test where it said that. So I'm like, why not? I'm getting married to the man of my dreams that I love, so we're here now.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love that. I love that. So now, quick tea. Did anybody know, and who knew before your wedding, that you were pregnant?
Yeah, so I found out maybe 6 weeks after I was pregnant, and then I had my bridal shower in August. So I conceived in June, July. I think I found out July 16th, and then August I had my bridal shower. And my girlies were coming down in town, and they literally were warning me, you better not get pregnant, on when we went on our trip to Bali for my 30th birthday. They were warning me, like, please don't get pregnant before your wedding. Please, please, please. Your bachelorette, the wedding, you want to drink, turn up, whatever. And I tried. um, you know, And so my bridal shower came, and as everybody was coming, a lot of my friends are from Houston. So as everybody was coming down, like one by one, two by twos, or however they came, I started to like let them know the news. I'm actually gonna post that YouTube video that I got of everybody's reaction very soon. And that's kind of how I told my bridesmaids. Those were the first ones that I told. I feel like it was very important to tell them. They're my closest friends, of course. And just so they were already like when they came down here, they were here for a few days, forcing shots down my throat, and I'm like passing it to him, throwing it
Mhm.
back, trying to
Mhm.
make sure nobody catches me. And yeah, and I just told them to like keep it a secret, don't tell anybody. And they did a great job. So even on my bachelorette trip, faking them drinks, faking the shots, they made special drinks for me, made sure I only drank that or put water in my shot glass. Even
Mhm.
when I was posting on Instagram, people were finding out even on my bachelorette trip. They was like, I could tell you were pregnant on your trip. I knew that was water. I'm like, dang, y'all.
Whatever. They
This
always
is
say that.
Blanco.
Uh-huh. I love that. I love that. So, but of course, you're not going to reveal. But do you have a name for the baby?
Yeah, I have a name. I
Uh
do
huh.
have a name. So I'm just waiting till she comes out to really see if it like fits
Uh huh.
exactly. I have a list, but I have one that's kind of like the top runner right now.
I love that. And are we one and done? Are we two and through? Or are we three is for me?
I like two and three and threes for me. Okay, period. I definitely want to just have one of each. I
Mm-hmm.
pray that I have the next baby that I do have is a boy, so
Mm-hmm.
I can be two and through.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I wouldn't mind maybe going a step further for three, but maybe like give it a little space in between.
Yeah, yeah. Let me tell you, as someone who also wanted, the experience of having both, there's some benefits of having the same gender.
Uh-huh.
Right? Like the level of closeness that they're going to have
Mhm.
potentially, anything can happen anytime. But,
Right.
two girls or two boys, that's an amazing combination, right? And I know, of course, once they're healthy, that's all that matters. But I also know it's kind of nice to have the experience of having both. So I get you, girl.
Exactly. And even if you have two of the same gender, you can keep all their clothes and all the things you had before and not
Come
have to
on.
shop again.
Come on. Well, Wendell, I
Yes.
want to thank you so much for bringing some positivity and some light on this side of Beyonce's internet, talking about love, relationships, marriage, and family. And we want to give you our blessings. We know that
Thank
everything is going to
you.
work out just swimmingly. And we are praying for you and your union. Thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you so much for having me, Allison. I
It's been
appreciate
a
it.
pleasure. Bye.
Bye.